Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my name's Christine. I've worked for North Country Homes since 2003. We're very low pressure sales, so I'm not here to sell you a house. I'm just here to answer questions so you understand what this particular process is. We're really busy, so we'll be fine if you don't buy a house from us. But we won't turn you away. But the Fisher family that I work for, it's a second generation family, and the parents that started the business, Tom Sr. and his wife Rosemary, their philosophy is to take care of the customer. That we don't advertise, we don't market directly. We take care of the customer. We've done a lot of repeat homes last year. We did a third home for a gentleman. We've done a lot of second homes. We get a lot of referrals. People come to us and say, so-and-so told me, so-and-so told me. We hear it all the time. So what is remarkable about Fishers is Dad taught the boys correctly, and the two boys that own it I work for, is that it doesn't matter if it's 2, 3, 4 years after the fact. If someone has a problem, you help them solve it. And that might mean they eat the cost of it, or it might mean they figure out what the problem is and help them solve it. But they really do take care of their families. In 42 years of business, North Country Homes has built 1,330 homes, and it's really nice people to work for. I was gone from the business for about 5 years because the housing market went down and they had to lay me off. I went to work for insurance, did a lot of other things, didn't care for any of them. In 2015, Paul called me and said, "You're not available by any chance." I said, "Thank you, Lord." So I'm back full time, and it's wonderful. It's a great family. Tom Sr. has since passed away. Rosemary's 85 and still comes to the office 6 days a week to bring our mail, bring the boys food, bring us flowers. She's wonderful. So it's a really nice family. So that's generally the background on why they have been in business so long, and they made it through the recession, which they were only selling. In a modular business, you bank on volume. They were only selling maybe 7, 8 homes a year during that lean time, and they were used to 60, 50 homes a year. And so now we're up to in the 20s again, but it's moving back up, and so things are going well. So essentially, I'm going to tell you what modular is, why it's good, and then I do have some numbers. I crunched some numbers on cost per square foot, because that is the question of the day. How much is this thing going to cost me? So I'll just kind of run through this real quick, if I can see it. I don't know, can you guys see it? If anyone can see it, tell me. Hold on. Okay, so modular home is a stick-built home. What we do, there's two ways to build a house. You're either building to BOCA code or stick-built code, or you're building to HUD code, which is like a trailer or a mobile home. It's something that meets the national standard for a house, which is HUD, Housing of Urban Development, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or it meets your local, state, and county code for the stringency of a house. So HUD code home, you can put the same HUD code home in Michigan that you put in Florida. Doesn't have to have any more insulation, doesn't have to have any better anything. It just meets the national standard for, it's got 4 walls, it's got windows, it's got egress, it's got doors, and so forth. We don't do that. We do BOCA code, which means it meets HUD code and the state code and the local county code you're in, or the township or whatever. So up here, BOCA code or stick-built code says you have to have R21 insulation in the sidewalls. Well, the only way you can achieve that is a 2x6 exterior walls. So that's what we do. You have to have R39, I think, is the ceiling insulation. We do R49. You have to have a certain pitch of roof and 70-pound snow load. So we accomplish all those things. Everything in our house is all stick-built, but we do use the technology of what everybody knows, mobile homes. It comes in on a couple halves and you stick them together to lift the roof. Well, these are built in a factory like that, in that they're built they're set on a trailer frame, they're built in the factory, but when they come here, they go off the trailer frame. That's how they're different from mobile homes and trailers. Those things have the trailer frame underneath, ours do not. So ours can go on a full basement or a crawl, if your land allows. So shipped to the building site. What's remarkable also about these, if you've ever seen a modular home put together, is anyone here familiar with modular construction, by the way? This one? Okay. It's bizarre to watch this. But in the factory, they're building the flooring, the walls, they're putting in cabinets, it's all drywall, painted, cabinets are up, windows are in, doors are in, it's done. from the factory in halves, or thirds or quarters, depending on what size of the house you buy. But when it comes down the road, they either use a crane or rollers and steel beams to take it off the trailer. It's put on the foundation. The day it's set, you can walk in it and it feels like a house. I mean, it might have some, might have carpet rolled up, or, appliances not installed, or it might just be a mess in there until we get it all cleaned up. But it's remarkable that you can walk in and it feels exactly like a house, and it feels like you could just, throw a bed in and sleep there. Still need water, power, and all that. But where was I going with that?
Built on basement.
Yeah. So, no, the point is how fast they go up. So, it takes probably, because the foundation's ready before the house arrives. Foundation's ready. They put the first module on, they put the second module on, they lift the two roof halves up inside the attic or the roofing system. They put in the knee walls, they cap the ends, they side the short ends of the house. The long ends are already sided from the factory. You have a house in a day. It's weather tight, it's all dried in. I mean, it's just amazing. So we, like normal stick-built houses are built out on sites with, guys pounding nails, and it's raining and it's snowing and stuff happens. And drywall always gets wet and wood always gets wet. Well, these are built in an enclosed factory downstate in Michigan. And under ideal conditions, building materials aren't stolen off the job site, because you can't be on the job site 24 hours a day. Well, they're in a factory under security 24 hours a day, so there's no loss that way. But anyway, the point is, when one of our houses arrives at a site, if something isn't sealed properly the first day, like they might have to come back another day and put dormers on, and there might be some temporary sheeting. If water gets in and a little bit of water gets on our drywall, we take it really personally. Like, we're invested in our homes and we don't want any flaws, so modular is a really nice way to get all that. So I mentioned the 2x10 floors, or no, I didn't. I said 2x6 walls. We have 2x10 floor joists underneath the house. They're very rigid floors. So they're built with brand names. That's another thing. Old mobile home or HUD code technology uses like weird shapes of things. So you want to go replace your door, you have to find a mobile home door. Or windows, funky windows, everything's strange. All of our homes are built with standard construction size everything, and their name brands. So it's, mastic siding, CertainTeed shingles, Pella windows, Schlage locks, Marilat cabinets, or Legacy cabinets, depending which brand, and so on. So they're name brand everything, and you can buy stuff when you need it. So those are pictures of houses that we've done that you can't see. Lovely. Everybody clap. No, I'm just kidding. I did include a 2-minute video that shows how these things are put together. Probably not going to be able to really see it, but I'd be happy to leave this if you guys want to watch it closer in a minute. So some of the advantages of modular building: climate-controlled building environment. There's quality control. So out on a job site, a couple guys swinging hammers, who's watching them and making sure there was enough nails in the wall, and there was enough, In the factory, everything goes through quality inspections. It's part of their construction process. Superior strength. I tell people, you ever step on a Lego? Have you ever seen a flattened Lego?
No.
No, your foot hurts, right? Legos are, the way they're done, they're so reinforced. They're very thick little walls for the size of the container, so they're really rigid. Modular homes are like that. And there is do you remember back in like 03 or 04, there was 4 hurricanes that hit Florida all in one year?
Yeah.
Remember that? Well, because they had so much data, FEMA was able to produce a series of studies on the houses that withstood the most, they survived the best. And they found that modular construction, which was kind of new at the time, Boca modulars, the Boca modulars outperformed the stick builders by 30%. And the reason why they discovered it is because a modular home is reinforced in all the corners more than a stick-built house, because they're designed to be drywalled and painted and make it down the highway to you. So they're just superior strength. So God forbid we have a hurricane up here, we'll be fine. We're not going to have a hurricane up here. Cost savings, we do take advantage of quantity and mass purchasing. In the factories, they're buying all their lumber at once, all their windows, their cabinets, their doors, their flooring, and so forth. We did get hit, I'm sure you guys have heard about Trump imposing tariffs on Canadian lumber this year. Ritz-Craft, the two brands we carry are Ritz-Craft and General Housing. Ritz-Craft got hit sooner than General Housing with the lumber price increase because they have contracts with Canadian lumber because it's close by. General Housing has been purchasing most of their lumber from the US, but it has trickled now to where even General Housing is having some lumber price increases. So they do, however, do big contracts a year in advance. They know what their costs are. They buy in bulk and they get those good costs. Precision engineering. I just have to describe this because I can't show it to you on the video. But you think about a wall. It's got framing. It's got cross pieces. You might have a window area. Normally that's built upright. Well, in modular fashion, they use technology and brains on their side. They have a big jig that is, say, 8 feet tall or 9 feet tall, depending on how high your wall is, and it might be 16 feet long. And they build your wall, they lay all the things across, and it's perfectly square, it's laser square. They build everything the way it's supposed to go, hammer it in, and then they glue the face of all the boards and lay the sheetrock down, the drywall down on top of it. So it's glued first, and then it's screwed. And then the whole entire wall is lifted up and set secure. And they pre-build all the walls for your particular house and have them all sitting ready so that when the house is coming down the production line, they grab wall A, wall B. It's really cool. Energy efficient. They are meeting, state of Michigan really upped energy codes for 2015. They took effect last year. So that's really good. So these homes meet or exceed those. Another part of the construction process that's in a factory that we like is less waste. So when they have a board this long and they only need it this long and they cut that off, they're going to reuse that board. They keep their costs as low as possible by using up all their scrap. So it's much more efficient than you've got this guy building one house. It's a one-off process for him. All that stuff goes in the dumpster. So these are much more environmentally friendly processes. Energy Star driven. I have a whole bunch in here on Energy Star. They do meet a lot of the green built technology and Energy Star rating processes in the factories with the materials they use and the way they build. Try to get this to go well. Building materials bought in bulk, talked about that. Homes built on assembly line, and that's also more efficient labor. The same guy in the factory that does the flooring does flooring all day long. This guy specializes in cabinets, does those all day long. So, it is more efficient, and they're paying assembly line labor instead of who the heck knows what they're paying on site. Anytime I talk about the site build, you notice I swing a hammer. I talk with my hands. Engineered plans. Okay, so plans are pre-thought out and they're on paper and you know what's going to get built and they know what's going to get built and things are planned. There's a lot of thought that goes into building these homes, so they're very efficient. Okay.
I was just going to comment that as we met with them, we made a lot of changes, and that was just fine. We had a basic plan, and then we added things and shifted things around and shifted walls and everything, and that was, your company was very willing to do that. That was.
What's your last name?
Walking.
That's right. Okay, and that's right. And Gary was your husband?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so sorry for your loss, by the way. I'd heard that he had passed away. Yeah.
If I stand up now, how much flexibility have people with different ideas?
Quite a bit. I'll give you an example. Very, very few people come in the office and say, "Oh, I like this plan. Let me build it. Let me pick my colors. Here's a check." No. I'll just give you an example. Okay, so this is called an Alpine. It's a very popular plan for cottage. Yeah, that's what I thought.
George and Marianne's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So typical Alpine. It's a great room, kitchen, very small dining area. This has a utility, 2 bedrooms and a bath. But let's just say you wanted to put a garage on the back, there's no way to access it. So now we need to switch the utility room and this bedroom. We do all kinds of customization. People add islands. We just did a house, oh, this is crazy. She did dark cabinets, dark ceiling, and then we contracted with a company down in Mayo to provide 3/4 inch knotty pine walls that were done in barnwood gray. And she's doing dark hardwood floors and done a beautiful setting overlooking the Sturgeon River, and it's just, but we aim to please. She's happy as punch. We're all going, ah. So anyway, we'll make changes. That's the point to that, all the time. So here's what you need to know. If we say the base price of this house is like $80,000, just as an example, and you want your own spin on it, if you're taking the same materials, the same components of the house, and just shuffling them around so they suit you, all you're going to pay is what's called an engineering fee. So the factory has already produced this. They have blueprints. They have a set of schematics for the electrical, for the plumbing, for the foundation guys. They have everything drawn and submitted to the state ahead of time so that when you say, I want to buy this house, they don't have to go get state approval. It's already ready. You send it to the county. They're allowed to build it. If you want something different, you're going to pay one time, and you don't pay us like up front. You pay it as part of your build fee. We don't charge you ahead of time. But they have to produce a new set of blueprints, calculate weight loads for the piers underneath, and redraw where all the electrical outlets and the plumbing goes and everything. So it's like a one-time fee of $1,500. That's what they charge. And you get the house exactly the way you want it. And it's all drawn on paper. So, you know, it's planned ahead on paper. It's really awesome. So materially, though, let's just say you only wanted a one-bedroom house, one bathroom, big utility, whatever. If we took out a bedroom, you're now taking out closet doors, closet shelving, and the entry door to the room. So the walls still exist for the house somewhere, but you would get a credit for the things that you omit too. So you can offset some of that engineering cost. Okay. So North Country Homes, I already told you, we're family owned. We're really awesome. I already told you that. Just kidding. How long do they take? Typical modular construction is about 5 months, is what we tell people. The simpler it is, the shorter it is. I think that's probably expanded. It used to be 3 to 4 months when I first started in 03. And it's yours out here in this setting, I'm guessing you would be doing simpler. But I could be wrong, but you might want something elaborate. But the simpler the home, the quicker it is. When you add garages and porches and decks and barnwood walls and things like that, it just takes longer, and there's no way around that. So our process typically is 5 months. Simpler the home, 4 months. Depends on the time of year as well. So right now, if you were building right now in the busy summer season and all the contractors out there, the electricians and plumbers and people that we need to hire are busy, it takes longer.
It was 5 months.
What was it?
We started in January. We met and finished what we wanted as far as the plans, and the house was in this time of the year, the beginning.
Okay. So from the first time you went in?
We went in the fall to talk about it.
Oh, okay, I was going to say.
But in January,
This
when
would be
we
placed
sat
to
down
order.
and did the whole layout.
Okay, now that's actually a little bit of a different time period too. We're subject to road restrictions when the thaw is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you might have ordered in January, technically a normal process is about 8 weeks for us to get the house. So it should have been in March, but we had to wait till April till the road restrictions lifted. So really it would have been about a 4 month if there weren't something in the way. Yep. So it just depends on the time of year. Your property is not usually included in what we do, so you come to this with your own piece of property. So I have included in here some examples, because I thought I'd be showing them real big, of different houses, which I do have books of these. But the main thing is I want to talk through this next screen, because this is pricing. This is what everybody really wants to know, right? Okay, so on one side I listed modular home cost, and the other side I listed site work cost and the total. So the bottom line is a 48-foot Alpine. Sorry, I think I did 44 foot. So,
Is it right here?
Yes,
Where the sun isn't in your eye, people are those.
We had some technical difficulties, so we're looking at the computer rather than.
That's not really great to look at. You can't really see
We'll just
much.
listen.
You'll just have to use your imagination. It's awesome, by the way. Just imagine the best thing you could think of.
Why they laugh?
Sure.
Because they've been with me for a little while. Okay, so I based this quote on a 28 wide by 40 foot long Alpine, which is 1,232 square feet. So all these numbers, and I'll talk through them, but they total up to about 148.9. No, that's not right. 154,900. And if you divide that by the 1,232 square feet, it's 125.17 a square foot. And our average, if people call and say how much is your cost per square foot, it's typically 125 to 150 a square foot. So I based this estimate saying that the base price of this house is $99,400. To add the 70-pound snow load, which is required, $2,500. I said a budget for modest upgrades, which might mean cabinets, flooring, whatever. I did about a $5,000 budget. And delivery, setup, and taxes included in the base price. So the total for the house, 106.9, and that means no surprises. So it really is 106.9. Did the house price change for you at all?
No.
Yeah. So there's no surprises. You know, when you come in the office, we'll show you all the samples. You'll pick colors. You'll figure out what grade of cabinets you want or flooring, and the price is the price. It's done. The site work stuff is a little more iffy. Building permits, are you Otsego County down here?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. So I estimated high. Every other place in the world, no, I'm just kidding. Every other place up north is about $1,300 to $1,400 for your building permits. We're hearing more like $1,800 to $2,000 down in Otsego now. Excavating, without seeing a site, we know what has to happen on it. Trees have to be cleared, a hole has to be dug, a driveway has to be put in, a septic system needs to put in, unless you have I assume. So all the things that the excavator does, we usually budget about $15,000 for the site. If it's a clear site, doesn't have a lot of trees to be pulled, it's a short driveway, not a 1,000-foot driveway, we have done those. It's ash and stone, and it's a regular in-the-ground septic system. It might be closer to $10,000. So we tend to budget on the higher end, so you have plenty of money, and you don't pay what we budget, you pay what the bills are. So we're just trying to help you make sure you have enough. Well, any idea of well depths around here?
Well, the county required it a certain depth. We get water, but we had to go deeper.
It's mandated 125 feet.
Okay.
Minimum.
Okay. So I based this on a 100-foot well, which is pretty average, and that's about $5,500. So 125 is probably around $6,500. Well, costs went up a lot this year. We're seeing. I've never seen an increase like this. Well and masonry went up a little this year. Mainly it's the wells. It's just nuts. A crawl space for this size of a house, budget about $5,700. If you want to put a basement, it's probably on this size house, maybe $12,000 to $15,000 more, depending on if it's walkout or not, and so on. Electrical hookups, we budget about $2,000. Plumbing hookups about $4,800, and a high efficiency furnace about $8,200 on a house this size. So the budget for everything. Oh, and I also did a budget for porches, decks, assuming you need a few of those things. So total for everything on the site work side was $48,800. So 106 plus the 48, we're at 154.9. So that's a pretty realistic, And that doesn't.
Ours was 157.
Okay.
And
that was quite a while ago.
And that included the garage.
Mm-hmm.
What I really liked was, as you said, when we were given our prices, we knew what we were getting into. There wasn't a whole lot of shifting around.
No.
The only thing that was estimated was the well, because we didn't know how deep we were
Can't
going
know
with
what,
the well.
and we get bids on everything else. So we might tell you this budget, but then when it's actually time, we'll say, where's your piece of property? We're gonna have an excavator go look at it, we're gonna have a mason look at your actual print, what you want, and we'll get bids on everything, electrical, plumbing, we know what things cost. So we also do 20-some homes a year, so the electricians know what we expect, the plumbers know what we expect, and everybody falls in line pretty well, because they want the next job too, and next year's next jobs. and so on. So, yeah.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Yeah.
Is this modular?
We'll talk about
steakhouse
that
we're
later.
talking
I'm
about?
just kidding. It's modular, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, just kidding.
Against you.
You brought her, so you get a positive, so. See how easy this is? It's fun.
Christina?
Yes.
Somebody said they want the basement finished, like the bedroom, bathroom downstairs. That's,
I don't have a cost per square foot on that because we don't do it, we sub it out.
oh, you said that, okay.
My guess it's probably something like 30 to 35 a square foot for them to do insulation, drywall, electrical, plumbing for a bathroom,
Would those
doors.
be different contractors?
Yeah, we hire out, because our job is running after contractors and building departments and then setting the homes and making sure everything goes right and then finishing the interior. We don't have time to do
Okay.
a lot of the
Just
funner stuff.
Well, the garage was subcontracted.
Right, yep. Garages, porches, decks, and if you do a chalet that has a bonus upstairs, finishing those are subbed out too. So we really don't look like we do much, but it feels like we do a lot. Poor Paul, my boss Paul, he's the number cruncher and he's the brother that does all the sales and he's also the general contractor that deals with all the subs and the building departments. It just seems like he's running constantly. So yeah, he's in his truck and he gets a phone call. The excavator has a question. I'll be right there. And then he's all the way across in, Roscommon, and then the guy from the UP in Pickford will call and say, "We need you to come up here and stake this out." Okay, I'll be there. Give me 2 hours. So that's what he does all day. So average cost per square foot, we always tell people it's $125 to $150 a square foot. We have done $100 square foot projects. Like this particular house, it's a little more costly than a standard home because it has a vaulted ceiling, it's got some wood beams. Do you have the wood beams in yours? So it's a little more than a standard ranch that just has a straight 8-foot or 9-foot ceiling. I've brought those too. But the least expensive ranch we do is about 840 square feet, and I want to say it's, did I put it on here? 76,000.
Yeah, I remember sitting through that with a person I thought you, Annie, and that was, I think, 96 or something. Anyway, it came to 110,000, and then she wanted the ceilings a foot higher and that, and so it came to, and she had a few other things, so it came to 150. And people are always asking me about, we do single people trying to figure out the least you can spend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
on a crawl space. And but so that, and it's just kind of common sense. If you're doing a smaller one, certain costs are still similar. You still need a well.
Right, there's still fixed costs.
The square foot cost goes up for the smaller one, but that's what I remember. I think it was 110, and that was about a year and a half ago. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the simpler the homes are, the smaller, simpler homes, they are closer to that 100, 115 a square foot. It just depends what you do. Everything is dependent on what you specifically want. So I included some other house plans that you can't see, use your imagination, and then gave some resources on how to contact us, how to find the website, and so forth. So I understand where did he go?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Hi. He'll put this, you were sitting over there a second ago, you threw me off. He'll put that on the website so you can access all the stuff and see the video and all that.
You can give me a copy of the.
Yeah, I can email it to you. Yeah.
Can
just
you
get
get a
your-
thumb drive thing?
I didn't bring one, but do you have one with you?
I have one right.
Sure. Yep, we can do that. So I brought some different literature if you guys want to take those. We do represent 2 different factories. You bought a general housing out of Bay City, right?
Yes.
That's the Alpine. The other brand we represent is called Ritz-Craft. They're out of Jonesville, Michigan. We used to carry 2 other brands, Redmond Homes and Schultz Homes, and what we found is the general housing and Ritz-Craft are really the top. I know Dickinson Home has also got a really good reputation. I don't know them specifically, but I've heard we're all comparable. But I don't know any Dickinson dealers, so too bad. You can see us. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, people will be able to see our house this afternoon, because that's where we're going.
Oh, okay.
This afternoon, after we're done here.
What else to tell you?
So a lot of times when somebody comes in, you, I think in that book, does it say the price of the shell of the house, and then you add in all the...
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Contract.
So when we give you the base price of each house, and so we know the way the Fishers have designed and worked their businesses, they don't make any money on any place other than the base price of the house. So they know that if they sold you the base price, the base house, and you didn't upgrade a single thing, and you didn't use our contractors, we just brought you the house, and you had a brother-in-law that was an excavator and a buddy that's a mason that works for Beer and Chili or whatever. We don't care who does the work, but if we didn't control all those other factors and you didn't upgrade a thing, we're fine. We know we've made the money. So when you come to our office, we're not trying to upsell you on anything, because we don't make any money on upgrades. We do them right out of the book, the catalog price out of the factory's book. So we'll help you buy what you want to buy, but we're not going to be going, don't you want something nicer? We don't do that. But in that same vein, we can do a lot of different ways to do a project. So one is, the most popular, is we do turnkey. You come in and you pick colors and write checks. That's it. You don't have to call anybody or fill out any forms, other than you have to do your own electrical and your own gas service. Like you have to set up your own accounts with those people, like consumers or whoever, because we don't need to know your driver's license number and your social security number and whatever else they're going to want to know. So that's the most popular, is we do turnkey. We do start to finish, and you just pick all your colors. A hybrid project would be, we do most of it and you do what you're comfortable with. Like if you want to get down in your basement or crawl space and insulate the interior walls and don't pay us to do it and save your money, a lot of people can do some stuff themselves. You want to build your own decks, build your own garage, we don't care who does it, just has to pass inspection. So that would be a hybrid. And then the other way is if we are your subcontractor, you're the general contractor, and all we're doing is providing you the house. So we're not hiring the electricians and plumbers, and you're pulling your own permits. One more step beyond that even is we do something called a shell. So you can get any plan from General Housing or any plan from Ritz-Craft that General Housing can copy, because they all just look at each other's plans. But you can get any plan through General Housing as a shell. And what that means is, when we bring it, the day we bring it, you walk inside, the 2x4 interior walls are framed in, but you can see through them. There's no electrical or drywall, there's no plumbing, there's no floors, cabinets, it's just a shell of a house, but there are windows and doors, the subfloor is in, and the shingles are done on the roof. So it's Tyvek wrapped around the outside, so it's weatherproof the first day, but it doesn't have siding, although the factory will option in siding if you want. But that's it. You get a shell of a house in a day. So we actually sell those every year, typically to contractors that don't have time to build a house for somebody. But it's my mother-in-law's best friend, and I'm going to be in big trouble at Christmas if my mother-in-law doesn't get that house for her friend. So they'll buy a shell from us. It gets framed and set up in a day. It's weather tight, and then they can go in and finish it for mother-in-law's best friend and be the hero. So those are about 50% of the base price of a house to get a shell. But the shell is only economical if you can do the work yourself, or you have a family member that does something. I just want to get rid of it. Anything else? Any other questions? So our office is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Well, we're there 8 to 5, 9 to 5, and Saturdays 10 to 3. So there's always someone in you can come in and talk to and look at plans. We have lots of pictures in the office of homes we've done. And we talk with people usually a good 5-10 times before they build. They will come in and they'll look and see what things are, and then they'll think about it. Then they'll pick a plan, and then they find out it costs too much. And then they downgrade a little until they get what they want, and then we build. So, it's a process. It takes a little while. But every now and then.
We really need to work with Paul.
Isn't he awesome? I know.
And so is his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you like Tom? You're unique. Just kidding.
I like it.
It must be here. Tom's a different kind of character. Tom and Paul, you cannot tell they're brothers. They're totally different people. But Tom jokes around that he's the one that does all the work, but he's the one that sets the homes and is out in the field getting dirty, which is why he's probably grumpy. And Paul rides the desk. That's what Tom says. So anyway, but yeah, they're a good team because they have different sets of strengths and complementary skills.
I was just thinking it'd be nice when Steve puts it on the website, if he could put a little introduction where you talk about how many homes are built and how many we do here and there. So that's possible, just personalize it. Perfect. So that's everything. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you coming.
No problem.
Okay.
Good time.